All right, so that was Mitch McConnell there addressing the media, talking about the many different issues. He also interestingly referred to himself as a Reagan Republican who sees the role that America plays in the much larger world order as a very important one. But of course, the big story of the day is the fact that Donald Trump is, of course, back on top and how has been declared the winner of the 2024 presidential race. Trump is all set to become America's 47th president. And this is how he thanked the country.
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends in this incredible movement.
The Republican leader had trumped early predictions in 2021, which said that his political career has in fact come to an end. And this is only the second time that anyone has ever returned to the White House after previously losing a presidential re-election bid. And this will also be the very first time that a leader convicted in a criminal case will, of course, make his way to the White House and will become the president. Now, remember, Trump was handed a unanimous guilty verdict in the hush money case months before the elections in the country. Now, Trump has won 4 of the 7 battleground states at the moment, including Pennsylvania, the one swing state that could have made or broken the mandate for both the candidates. He leads in the remaining 3, for which the race is yet to be called. The votes are still being counted in Michigan, Nevada, and Arizona. If the Republican leader wins these states, then he may go on to become the first president ever in the country's history to win all battleground states. Let's now hear some of the key points from the victory speech that was delivered by Donald Trump at the Republican campaign headquarters in Florida.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond. They came from all corners, union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American, Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment. We're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We're going to be paying down debt. We're going to be reducing taxes. We can do things that nobody else can do. Nobody else is going to be able to do it. China doesn't have what we have. Nobody has what we have. But we have the greatest people also. Maybe that's the most important thing. Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness.
So that was what Donald Trump had to say to the nation of the United States of America after he won the elections. And our correspondent Susan Tehrani, who's been tracking this election very, very closely for us, is now joining us from the Times Square in New York. Susan, there were a number of important points that Donald Trump, in fact, touched upon, where he said that he's a man of his word. And one of the key priorities for him, he said, is to heal the United States of America, to make America safe, to keep America safe from immigrants, and also to get the American economy back on track again. Now, there were a number of different issues that he touched upon, but at this moment, a lot of people are in fact saying that one of the reasons why Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ended up losing this election is because they failed to heal the United States, which appears to be split right down the middle politically. So give us a sense, can Donald Trump, who's considered a very polarizing figure, heal America politically?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just have to talk to you about that split in the middle politically issue that we've really been hearing a lot during this election campaign. But what we saw in the polls really doesn't indicate that. America isn't really split in the middle politically. And it's, you know, this is a landslide for Donald Trump, and it's the first time in decades that a Republican has even won the popular vote, not just the Electoral College, and then Republicans have Senate in their hands. That means these are local representatives for the American people. So, you know, he has most of the people on his side. There is a group that's very vocal. They're not the silent type. They're very vocal. They're the East Coast voter, the West Coast voter, and, you know, the traditionally blue states that are concerned about whether or not Donald Trump is able to unite the country or not. Despite Donald Trump's possibly good intentions, which they are, it's yet to be seen whether or not the Democrats will embrace him. Or what about those never-Trumper Republicans? Are they going to be able to embrace him? And I think, Mohammed, that's where you're absolutely right. It's a challenge, and we'll have to wait and see whether or not he's able to bring this country united and closer together. But I think at least some glimmer of hope and some good news was that the election was a landslide for one side and not the other, despite the fact that the polls really showed us a polarized nation and country.
That is indeed true, and it is indeed a landslide election that you mentioned, the fact that he's winning the popular vote, besides also a majority in the Electoral College. What is interesting, Susan, is the fact that Donald Trump went on to very publicly own the fact that he wants to bring in the largest coalition of people. He wants the white Americans, the black Americans, the Hispanics, you know, people, Arab Americans, Muslim Americans. That this is a very wide demographic that Donald Trump is, of course, targeting, and they seem to have shifted towards the Republicans in ways that no one perhaps expected even 4 years ago. What is it in his messaging that Donald Trump has done right, that he's managed to get votes from so many different divergent communities?
Yeah, different issues for different people when you look at it from a micro perspective. Of course, you know, the Latinos, the Hispanics, you know, the black community, the Muslim community, these are communities just like any other Americans. The Indian American community, for example, the economy and immigration. And when we say immigration, we mostly mean border security and illegal migration into the United States. These issues were really on top of their minds, and they sort of felt isolated and alone when they expressed their frustration about these issues, because the White House continuously told them that the economy is fine, inflation is low, immigrants are welcome in this country. They are. Lawful immigrants obviously are welcome, but they wouldn't address the border issue. They would say the border is secure, less migrants are coming in. So it was basically, don't believe your lying eyes, we tell you what's right. And I think that's what brought these people together. They felt like Donald Trump. We'll have to see how he performs in office, obviously, but I think his message of being sort of frank with the American people resonated with them. I just want to say something about the Hispanic and Latino communities that perhaps doesn't get that much attention, is the fact that these are communities just like the Indian American community. They have conservative values. They like the united family, the nuclear family, conservative values when it comes to different issues. And a lot of them thought that the Democrat Party was not the centrist Democrat Party of the Clinton administration. They've moved too much to the left, and they were concerned about, for example, biological men in women's bathrooms. They're concerned about the safety of their families with illegal migrations in all cities. So, you know, these are also issues that brought them together as well. I mean, I could go on, but I just want to say these are things that perhaps united these communities that felt forgotten, felt taken advantage of by the Democrats, maybe taken for granted for sure.
Indeed, that of course is what the Democrats will have to do. There will be a lot of soul searching. Did they take a lot of the demographics for granted, thinking that they would of course vote for them anyway, but that did not happen. Susan, do continue to stay on with us. We would want you to weigh in on another important aspect as to how the world is reacting to the victory of Donald Trump. But for now, though, let's in fact listen in to Democrat strategist Christopher Hale that we spoke with before, who shared his thoughts on how he felt Kamala Harris has performed and also his take on her political future. Listen to what he had to say.
I have tremendous respect for Vice President Harris. Last night was her last run at elected office. I think that you can't come back from a defeat like that. In this country, at least in this party, the trauma of losing to Donald Trump is really a non-negotiable. I think that there's the sense of the 2028 candidate for the Republican Party is probably going to run in the image and likeness of Donald Trump. So I think in my party, you get one shot. You get one shot to win the general election. So I think that her political career will end on January 20th.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.